How did you know that this was the right strategy and it was going to work?
That's the beauty of when you're doing what you're meant to be doing. For religious people, I think it's easier to embrace that, because you acknowledge that God has given you a gift and a purpose in this life. And so then doing what your heart tells you is the purpose. You know you're fulfilling God's vision for your life. I think it's a lot harder to explain to atheists, for example, because they don't believe in the higher power supporting that connectivity. So it's a lot harder to explain and to help them move along the system than someone who has a deeper belief in a higher being.
That is fair enough, and I'm not going to stress that enough. I'm not going to stress that at all. Okay, so what have you learned so far along the way? Because this has been a long journey. We have barely even scratched the surface, no? And we have spent 1 hour. And I know usually like this, of course, we are getting towards the end of the podcast just now, but of your journey that we are referring to, we have barely even scratched the surface. So, what have you learned as your lesson along the way?
To go for it, to have the courage to take that step that is the beginning of your journey. I think Tolkien expresses it very beautifully in when Bilbo is talking about the adventure. It's like you can step out your door, but you don't know where the paths are going to take you to. And that's what this is when you realize what it is that you're really passionate about, that you really want to do, that you maybe feel that you are meant to do. That first step can be really challenging. It's often the hardest one that we need to take, because we have to believe in ourselves. Because often there's many people around us who will say, well, what about this, or what about the negatives, or what if? Because they care about us and they don't want us to fail. But the problem is that if we don't even set a foot out the door, you can't even fail, you can't even trip up, you're just stuck inside. There's another lovely quote, I can't remember who it's by, but the person said that it would be much better to reach for the stars and get halfway there than to reach for the top of the staircase and only reach halfway.
That is powerful. That is powerful. Yeah. It's true, because if you never move now, it's like you are afraid to fail, so you never take any step. You are already failed because you are not even doing anything, so you are not even helping yourself. I like that.
Precisely. Yes, and it's really important, because it's that courage to go for it and to be okay with the failure, because that's another thing. A failure is not it's not a negative. Failure is just feedback. It's helping you to adapt and to learn, because without failing or without stumbling, you don't learn. If we think about it, I mean, all children learn to walk, but when there's 4 or 5 month old babies who are learning to crawl, the concept of walking is so hard, and taking that first step is incredibly difficult. And yet they fall and they get up, and they fall and they get up, and nothing can stop a baby from walking. They do it. All of them do it. And that is, I think, something that we as adults definitely need to take with us, is that, take the step, go for it. And if you fall, well, you can just get up again. That's okay.
That is really very simple as a way of life, and I wish we could learn it. Of course, we used to do it like you said, though. Maybe learn how to they learn how to walk, and then fall as many as possible. And you never see a child that say, "No, I'm not going to walk anymore." Or maybe learning a new
Yeah.
language. How many mistakes do you need to make? You see, but we, as an adult, we think we know everything, so we don't try anymore. So we just keep we remain stuck, as it were. Anyway, it's good. It's good hearing from you. It's evident that you are a personal coach. So the code that you are listing out, they are really very valid for people who want to take note of them. All right. At this point of the podcast, this a closing part, we usually allow our guests to self-promote themselves because now you have read books, you have your business, and you are spending your time here. So we believe your time is worth something. Now, tell our audience how can they find you? Where do you have any offer that you have out there? And somebody want to buy your book or your books, where can they find it? So self-promote yourself with this short few seconds, then I'm going to ask you the last two questions.
Right. I'm most active on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram is being a bit difficult at the moment, so Facebook is the place to be. I also have a blog site and a YouTube channel, so there are ways and means to find me. My books are all available on Amazon. Some of my books are available on other online sites like Barnes and Nobles and Ingram Spark and such. Some of my books are even available on Scribd. So my books are, if you search for me, you should be able to find my books by this time. At the moment, I'm publishing The Word Mage's Tales, which is a series of standalone novellas, which is each a tale from an invented fairy tale, essentially, from my other series, the Wishmaster series. So in that series, I follow the story of a young boy who apprentices to a storyteller. And then these Word Mage's Tales are the stories that he learns from his master. So with every time I publish one of the Word Mage's Tales, I have a special on all the other volumes in the set, and I drop the price of The Apprentice Storyteller, which is the first book in the Wishmaster series. The next release is next week. I am releasing The Last Warrior, which is a very uplifting tale about a young woman who is a healer, but doesn't believe that she's worthy of her position as the head healer of her country. And so we have her journey of finding love and her sense of worthiness to be doing what she is passionate about. And that one will be releasing next week, Wednesday.
Oh, right. Thank you for that. People should really look out for that so they can get a feel of the story that Astrid is writing. She, of course, like she has already told you, she has an award-winning author. She's really very experienced in her writing, and she represents a good literary giant among us. So you really need to look out for her work. Now,
Thank you. Before you go on,
yes,
I did
please.
want to add one more thing, because there is one other way that people can connect with me, and that's by becoming members of my street team, which involves leaving a review of each book as they release in exchange for a free copy of that book. So people are welcome to join my street team, and in so doing, they will receive all of my upcoming releases for free. And all I ask is that they leave a review of the book.
Absolutely. That's absolutely. All right. Now, if today is the day that you are starting out afresh in your writing and coaching career, what would you do differently?
Nothing, because everything that has led me to this point was necessary for me to learn key and important lessons that I couldn't have learned if I hadn't followed this trajectory, and that inform my journey. They are very, very important steps. If I hadn't doubted myself, I couldn't have found my core reason for existence, my meaning, as you mentioned from Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, being writing at a very crucial juncture in my life, which also led me to the life coaching. It's all so beautifully interwoven and interconnected that by changing one strand in the tapestry of my life, I would change my whole life, and I don't think that would be worthwhile.
Fantastic. Now, this is your last message. The people that have been listening to you to this moment, we have spent like 1 hour, 8 minutes or so. You explaining something about you, your life, your journey, your book writing, and your coaching. Now, what would you like to leave them with as your message? Okay, this message, of course, is a positive message because you are a life coach. You help people to improve themselves. So, what is your message to the audience to conclude it?
To go with the message of have the courage to take the first step, I would add never give up.